no disguise. We're speaking truth, we're opening eyes. Different voices, one heartbeat close. Together we rise with a weekly dose. It's your weekly dose. Truth in the air. Loud conversations, cause somebody cares. Breaking the silence, letting it show. Healing begins with a weekly dose. It's your weekly dose. Strong and bold, stories of courage that must be told. From every high and every low, we grow together. Weekly dose. Let the voices be heard, let the wounds be restored. Let respect lead the way, let love take the floor. This is more than a show, it's a movement we chose. Changing lives every week with a weekly dose. It's your weekly dose. Light in the dark, igniting the mind, awakening hearts. Every truth that we boldly disclose brings us closer. Weekly dose. It's your weekly dose. Stand up and grow, learning together, letting it flow. This is the place where hope overflows. Welcome home to your weekly dose. Every Tuesday, 1 p.m. GM to 1 Premiere TV with Alaska PAYE and RENNIE.
All right, folks, thank you. Welcome to another edition of the Weekday Dose. I'm here, pretty senior. My name is Rennie K, and I'm joined by my colleague and friend Josiah Vani Sando. Josiah Vani Sando was with me on the set this gone Sunday on Premier Talk as we talk about the brain drain dilemma should labyrinths abroad, to educated librarians abroad return home and under what conditions. So Sonny and I will lay the primary basis on what condition should librarians abroad return back home and under what circumstances should they be received. And also we are looking for educated librarians to return back home, not just any librarian. So if you are here, you are not complete your studies. We urge you to complete your studies and make sure that you do what you're out to do here and make sure that you are safe and sound. Howbeit, we're here again with a weekly dose. This is Premier Television Network, your online hub for meaningful content. And I'm joined by Josiah Vanisano from Delhi NCR, Greater Noida to be precise. The gentleman in question just back a master's degree in funny that program will give me hard time, but in time to come, we adjust to calling the name. I think water resource and
Yes,
environmental sustainability,
management.
something like that. Oh,
Yes.
environmental management and water resource. All right. So he bagged a master's in it, and we must applaud him for that. It's not easy coming out here going through the do's and don't dotting the R, crossing the T's. It's not easy. People feel like it's something that you can just walk on. I mean, when you see graduation photos passing all around the internet, you have to be very authentic about it. It's not something that people would just normally do. Howbeit, we want to applaud the gentleman in question. Some of us, we are going through our master program, and by God's grace, we will be we will be here most definitely uh, next graduation term, that is next year. But the weather in Punjab is pretty harsh. I think you can see me on my handkerchief. I'm trying to put a web on my sweat. You now want to turn on your TV home and you have a lot of legislative bills. All right. We are students here. We can live lavish lifestyle.
Sure.
Yeah. So the weather here, weather in Punjab yesterday is very brutal. It have been like this for the past few days. And as I was told, next month, we want to say bye bye to the month of June. Today is the last day in the month
Yeah.
of June. Before we see June again, will be next year. There are so many things that happen through this month, and some of which we will say that we are grateful for, and some of which we want to say we will improve on. But albeit, above all, the network is still standing. Premier Television Network is still here and has been doing emphatically well. We have been running things down. Again, you have another program this Sunday, and we are here. We are here 100%. We are here bringing you the tough talking points. Today, the wicked dose, we are discussing nothing other than drug abuse from liberal perspectives. All right, the drugs is pulling in the countries tons of cocaine and other drugs are going in the countries here and there, and the youth are getting distracted by it and they are taking it in, which of course is damaging our young population. The younger ones nowadays don't want to get into anything better; they just want to be living a wayward life, and which of course we don't embrace. And with that, we'll get into it. So I'll just give Samuel the time to introduce themselves and then we'll get right into it. Samuel, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Chief Miles. And as you stated earlier, I'm Josiah Vanisano, a recent graduate of Shada University, Greater Northern Knowledge Park to be preserved, Uttar Pradesh, an hour and 30 minutes away from Delhi NCR. I'm the current superintendent of Greater Noida Association of Liberian Students in India, and currently fighting my way back home to go and impact life or to be able to give back to the society that molded my mind, that is Liberia to be precise. Thank you for having me once again.
Okay, thank you so much. That's the voice of Josiah Vanisano, our team member joining from Delhi NCR, Greater Noida to be precise. The time check in the nation capital, that is New Delhi, is the time check is 6:54. Yeah, the time check is 6:54. Benjamin Page just joined us from Liberia, so I'm joining from Punjab State. And do remember our fans and followers that are following the live broadcast. Please remember to share the show, and also remember that we run on one time zone. India runs on one time zone, so the time to Josiah's side is the same time to mine side. So we have one standard time. That's which is called the India Standard Time. All right. So we just want to make that point very clear. Ben, welcome to the show. Are you there with us? Okay, Ben just went off. So we'll kick start with Sano. Sano, when you hear the word drug abuse from Liberia perspective, what comes to your mind? Drug abuse. Let's tackle drug abuse first, then before we come with Liberia perspective. All right.
Uh,
Let's tackle it
uh,
from drug abuse.
you know, this is actually an interesting topic today, and these are discussions that we as young people of a nation crippling from a post-war nation and crippling with loud instant corruption and other situations. And as speaking to you today, I can say I'm a victim of drugs. Or yes, although it's not the one that we term as Zogo in Liberia, but some way, somehow, some of us have been victimized by the issue of drugs. So when you hear the word drugs abuse, it's not just a word, it's something that is tantamount to the development and format of any society. It breaks the very fabric of any society. It's not just Liberia alone. But globally today, the issue of drugs is not it has become a global emergency from the backdrop of the international community. So the issue of drug abuse is now a new thing to even our listeners. So we just have to give the details and ways to mitigate the issue of the prevailing drug situation in our country, West Africa, Africa, and the global community. So thank you so much for the topic. It's interesting, and we look forward to a fascinating discussion today. Thank you and welcome to my own brother and comrade there, Comrade Alaska Pay. Yeah, so welcome and good evening from my end.
All right, thank you so much. That was the voice of Josiah Vanisano, our team member there joining us from Delhi NCR, Greater Noida to be precise. And again, I've joined from Punjab State, Chandigarh to be precise. And we have Benjamin Page joining us from Pinsville. Ben, how's the weather condition in Liberia and how's your surrounding before we move on to ask you the question on the topic.
So I hope you guys are getting me clear.
Yes, you are clear. We're live and clear.
Now live come.
Yeah, sorry, having a very bad weather. As I'm
Yeah.
speaking, and there's a heavy rain
Oh wow.
falling, so my internet is kind of breaking. That's why I can turn from my laptop.
Oh
So
okay.
the weather is a little bit bad for my end. Yeah, a heavy downpour of rain as we are.
Oh, so we find it difficult to connect with Ben there. Ben will join us very soon. Ben is having a heavy downpour of rain from Liberia, and it's the rainy season in Liberia, just to be precise. We need that rain here. Honestly, it's very hot. It's very hot. The temperature is very intense, and the side that Josiah from the Delhi side, the temperature there when it comes to summer is very much tense on that side as well. So let's now Josiah have laid it busy when it comes to drugs abuse. All right. So what I would say is that when it comes to drug abuse from Liberia perspective, is people going in and taking in illicit substance, taking illicit substance, and also the substances which are good for health. People are misusing them. So when you take the illicit substance and we abuse the ones who are good for health in the wrong way, that's drug abuse. And from Liberia angle, since we are not medically inclined, I'll use that phrase, quote unquote, we are not medically inclined to that level. At the end result, we will have many young people getting involved into so many substances, some of which include the tramadol, the kush, what the other one is? Spark and die. All right, the spark and die, the kush, the tramadol, and then the other one, the cough syrup, codeine.
Yeah,
All
for
right,
them. Yeah,
and then the other one again, I think lean. Yeah, they got
yeah. They
another one called
have all the yes.
very good. So they got lean. All right, and then they also have the other one, the daclofenac.
Yeah, they have the diaglyphene. They have a chewing gum as well.
Very good. They have the chewing gum as well, and then they have so many. They have so many. All right, they have so many. Just to name a few. These are the drugs, the most common ones that Liberians misuse nowadays. And this issue of fighting here is it dated back from post Civil War trauma. All right, it dated from the post Civil War trauma, wherein people abuse substances as a means to get their pain away, which of course were not a rightful procedure to take. So when you're looking at drug abuse from a Liberia perspective, you're looking at so many things. You're looking at the lack of parental care, number one. You'll also be looking at um, the lack of public enlightenment. All right, those are into the environmental field. They got something they call public enlightenment. That is giving the public the knowledge, necessary knowledge on the rightful subject matter. Take for example, they will say, do not dump waste into the block covered. For it to not happen, we will not just say one time and leave it. We need to do our proper legislation through public enlightenment. All right. So that's a rifle one there. There is no proper legislation through the public enlightenment. So as an end result, you find many young people doing things the wrong way. And they have this saying, quote unquote, someone can bear me witness and a listening audience, that if you are not in their cycle, they cannot relate with you. You cannot go friends, family members, loved ones also fall prey to these things. How do they fall prey to it? They fall prey to it in a sense such that they will do things the opposite. You get into a cycle, you know that that whole entire cycle, everybody there makes substances from different end to another, from the lean to codeine, from tramadol to the spark and that to so many other substances. But yet instead, what you will do is that you will prepare taking drink from them. And when you take the drink from them, what happens is that they're not going to give you drink that will favor you. They'll give you drink that will make you behave like them. And when you start behaving like them, they will come and wake you up in hope that you have turned to one of them. It I don't know how many of you are, I don't know how many of you have watched the vampire movie. The scenario I'm explaining, that's how it works. Like it's just like when a venom as the poison from the vampire when it bites you. Those who have watched the vampire movie, what happens is that when you try to change, then those who are already vampire will not come around. What a good or bad will not come around and now think that okay, you have become one of them, one of their kind, and they will try to take you and put you into a different scenario, making sure that you are not on the other side. You are with them and you cannot snitch. That is, you cannot tell anybody of what going on with you. You cannot share with the public. You cannot give them the rightful knowledge. And at the end of the day, subsidies are provided towards that end. All right. So subsidies are provided towards that end. And most often, like I said, it all boils down to the lack of parental care. When I say parental care, you don't have to be a biological mother or father to care for you before you know that okay, you're having that parental care. And also the lack of discipline. That also does on those who are taking the drugs in, those who are going after substances, they have age. All right. They know when to go to the washroom, when not to go to the washroom, when to eat, when not to eat. All right. They get alert from their bodies. Their bodies react in different ways, shape, and manner. They have different genotype. They have different blood type as well. All right. But to the end result, you will get them behaving the way they're not supposed to behave. All right. So at the end result, it comes back to bite us. All right. It comes back to bite us, and which of course we're not wanted that way. And since we're not wanted that way, what we need to do is that we need to talk to the young people. We need to pass the message out there. So drug abuse from the Liberia perspective is totally different thing because it have A, B, C, D, E, F. If you remember back, right, when people when I don't know what they still do when they conducting tests. All right, I think Ben is in a teaching space. Wherein when you give one question, when you say this, you're having two questions for essay. That question one or question two having A, B, C, and D, sometimes E. All right, you have to go one after the other to answer them, and you are not leaving one out. You have to go if you're talking out that A, you have to go from A to D or from A to E, all right, or from A to C, all right, or A and B. You attack all of it. So we are saying that there is no proper. The key one is there is no proper legislation. All right, there is no proper legislation, and when you don't have no proper legislation, then the public enlightenment will go low. There is totally no public enlightenment towards it. So I'm gonna stop here and allow Ben to come in, then we'll get back to Sano. Ben, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the disruption. It's the bad internet connection I'm having. So I hope I am audible. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you. You're audible.
Okay, thank you. So, this whole drug abuse stuff is concern, is a major concern that every one of us, including the citizens themselves, the government, the family at large, the school, the church, the mosque, we all have to come together to see how best we can be able to fight against this nightmare. So, there are other countries who have been experiencing similar situation that we as a nation Liberia is facing now, right? So we observe that almost like 60% of the Liberian population are made out of the youthful society. And when we look out there, we understand that most of these people, or most of those individuals that are abusing the drugs, are among the youthful population between the ages maybe approximately 15 to 35, might be in that age range. So that tells you that if you do the statistics, you understand that majority of those individuals are abusing drugs are youth. So that should be our concern as a nation. So looking at that, we can also follow some steps that other countries have been able to instill, other measures that other countries have been able to put into place that today at least they have reduced the percentage of drug abuse. So recently I was just looking at some of those countries that drugs are highly abused in. We saw the likes of America, the likes of Colombia, the likes of Mexico, the likes of Iceland, the likes of Portugal. All of these countries, people are there abusing drugs. It will show you that the statistics again say between the ages of 15 to 35 years are those people in that range that they abuse drugs. So our curious to know what are some of those measures that they are putting in place as a nation at least to reduce the abuses of drugs. And I begin to understand that they say the education method that Irisland use number one, they make this as a lesson in school. So that is the children were learning about the effect of these drugs in school. Irisland is in education, educating people about drug abuse, educating the population, right? Also, getting involved, they are starting to activities and they documented the impact of those measures. So the measures are used they are helping them the percentage of drugs. And I also want to right? Also in nature, they invest heavily in rehabilitation centers.
So we lost track of Ben. Liberia is facing torrid, high, and heavy downpour of rain, especially from Ben's location. So he will be in and out. Sorry to the viewers for the glitches from Ben's side. So Sandro, you can pick up from where Ben stopped.
Ah, okay, so thank you so much. I actually appreciate, as I said on the initial stage, I appreciate the discussion point, and these are issues that young people should get involved with. For the issue of just from a Liberian perspective, or I just want to first a bit disagree with you firstly when you say there's no legislation when it comes to the issue of drugs in Liberia. If my memory can set me right, it was in 1993 or yes, 1993, December 23rd or December 23 that the Liberian Drugs Enforcement Agency was created by an act of the national legislature. So that alone is a first step to the issue of drug mitigation in our country. So from my perspective, I think Liberia have some way when it comes to enforcement and policy formulation in regards to drugs, drugs abuse or mitigation of drugs in our country. The government have done their part. And as Comrade Alaska said, the issue of drugs is a public health emergency. It's not something to take lightly. And he went on to give some examples like Colombia, like Mexico, the United States of America, and even China had some issue with drugs before in the past decade. China was facing a serious issue of drugs, but because of the issue of harsh enforcement, being making drugs to be non-bearable. Let me say before I go into finding solution to the prevailing issue of drugs in our country, I want to make a point to something. If you check back from the 15th century to the 18th century, you get to know that Rome or Italy was one of the strongest nations in the world that flourished and spanned across empires. What made Rome to be one of the greatest nations on earth, or one of the greatest cities on earth? It was because of the issue of rule of law. According to the learned lawyer and counselor in Councilor Tawin Say Gonglo, he said that the rule of law is the bedrock of every country's development. That is the rule of law and its implementation. And if you check the pillars of democracy, there are 11 pillars of democracy. The first and concrete pillar of democracy have to do with the rule of law and the people. So if where the rule of law is not being enforced, you will always experience this issue of drugs and other crimes within a society as it went on to raise this issue of drugs. But for us in our environmental perspective, or people who understand sustainable development, and issue of some issue prevailing issues in our country, like this drugs issue and corruption as well, and even waste management, we understand that in order to mitigate the issue of drugs or maybe other issue or public health issue in our country is to engage it from the source. Is to engage it from the source, because people who are already in the area of drugs or who are already abusing drugs, we can manage to create awareness, like you said, public enlightenment. We can control it because even the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals, that ended in 2015, they have a special portion of provision that talk about education and awareness to the public, and even the Sustainable Development Goals now that come from 2015 to present. He also spoke about the issue of education, quality education. So I believe that one of the major issues with Liberia is the issue of the lack of education, like you spoke about the parenting. So I don't want us to holistically blame the government or the parents as well. As he said, we have we are from 15 years, or let's say from 12 years, from even religious perspective, from 12 years, you are able to make some life choices for yourself, what's good and what's bad. You will not look at the hard part on the fire and use your bare hand to take it. That one you not need your father or mother or uncle to tell you that the pot is hard. Consciously you will know that that pot is hard. So it also comes to the issue of life choices. Once you pass the age of 12 years, you are adolescent, there are certain life choices you make that you know that it is negative and it will be positive. And knowing that you as an individual, if anything negative on a practical basis take place in your life, it will not just affect you alone, it will affect the family and the society to which that family belong. So just to call it in a nutshell, the FDA will have the policy set, and even the drug law was updated in 2018 during the George Manuel led government. Even this Unity Party led government, they are very, very much intentional about the issue of drugs in the country. But one thing we need to look at from the mitigation aspect of solution, we have to be solution driven. The community have to get involved. The people of Liberia got to get involved. The young people have needs to get involved. I've seen one or two times like my sister Coffee with Jojo. She have been in this or rehabilitation thing, creating awareness. But then she just doing 1 2 years, and now I can no longer see her in the ghetto. I'm not seeing her around drug users. Although according to her, she have a rehabilitation center, and other people as well who are been into this or drugs campaign who say they are activists. We have to be intentional about this thing. The issue of drugs is not me to go and make and create content. It's about being intentional and being passionate about it through patriotism. That's why I always say there are two types of humanitarian. No disrespect to any activist, no disrespect to any state actor or any agency. But the issue of drugs in any country is not about creating content, it's not about taking going in the ghetto doing videos and or just arresting people and the prosecution aspect. No way, people will not get justice. People who are bringing drugs into the country, they are not being investigated, they are not even putting force on it. In fact, it is the users that the agency LDA are more focused on the people who are bringing the drugs to the city or to the country. They are talking about the souls, because once you attach the souls, it means the drugs will not come to the country. Once you hit all the entry points, all the entry point, the port of all the ports of entries. Labrador is borrowing a lot of countries and also the Atlantic Ocean. But we have post securities, we have immigration officers, we have law enforcement officers, not just the FDA, but we have the joint security. So if they attack the drugs, the fact of the drug, if start from the source, the transportation, the people who are bringing the them, mean the drugs issue will be minimized in our country. We know that it can be 100% eradicated. Even China that now have a non-billable, because there are certain substances now you don't find in China. We have people in China, we are doing research, and China now have one of the least, yes, drugs rate in the world. And also India, like we are in here, although people suddenly still smuggle drugs into India, but they are the post of entries in India, they are not even using technology to fight drugs. So what can we do now as young people looking at the kind of infrastructure, educational infrastructure that we have in Liberia, and also security apparatuses lacking the requisite resources, or let me say infrastructure to fight drugs? What can we do as citizens? What can we do as young people? So there are 5 points listed today for this discussion that I want to give to the listening audience and even agencies of government to get involved. One is the issue of to raise awareness, to educate our people about we should be able to organize school and community campaigns. How many activists have gone to high school? Let's take it from 10th grade to 12th grade. These people are already matriculating to the larger society. They are people of prospect. Those people are people that will want to give back to society tomorrow. But if on requisite awareness is not created about the issue of to educate the peers about the physical, mental, and economic consequences of drugs, some of them will just go into it because they are not educated about the negative consequences that it have, not only to them as an individual, but a mental, physical, and the social health will also be impacted negatively. Secondly, we have to promote the positive peer influence. How do we promote positive peer influence? Let's take for example, uh, Alaska Pay here is opulent. His parent has money, has everything to his disposal. So now I just have Vanessa no want to look for an opportunity to be able to be with the big boys. I always want to roll with the opulent person because he have money. Not knowing the activity, not studying or doing a feasibility study about the activities that the person is involved into. Are they into substance, drugs and substance abuse? What impact are they making in society? What are the friends they have? What are the choices they are making in life? I don't just go there because they are opulent, because we are riding BB cars, because we go to restaurants, because we go to other places. That's how young people are getting into drugs abuse, because they want to roll with the big boys, they want to always be in the fries. So if we create awareness to the community, to our people, get them involved into this drug fight, I think it will cause or see it will cause some mitigation. And we should also, in the issue of positive influence or peer influence, it depends on the choices that we make. It depends on life choices. You know what's good for you. You as an individual know the kind of impact you want to make in society. So you making this impact in society, it depends on the choices that you will make in life. There in this discussion how to do with the engagement in activities. Positive activities. Some of us we are researchers. We find ourselves in the academic or in the academic area. So if Alaska Pay or any other or John Brown, you are pursuing education as you are pursuing your discipline as well, and you want to be around people who will bring out the best in you, who will bring out your potential. You have to make that choice to make friends that will impact your life positively. And let me say this: association. Everybody should make friends. Agree. We need people around us. We need people to get to where we want to be because no man is an island. But it is not everybody that we should bring in our cycle. Friendship is not just because I see Alaska and got car, his store, his beard, and he knows so I should be around him, or maybe he's involved into other activity. But what's the impact he making on my individual life that I can use as a tool to get to where I want to be? So that's the issue of positive one, involving yourself into positive activities, reading, going to sports activity, going to things that will get help with your mental and physical health. Second one has to do with support of education. We should education is key. Education is important. One of the main issue like Kremlin Liberia today that is putting into total limbo when it comes to the issue of fight against drugs is lack of education. Most people don't even know the functions of LDA. Most people, some of these drugs that they take, they abuse, they don't know the impact they have on their physical and mental health, and even internally, because some of them they will bring cardiovascular problem to you, it will give you some lung diseases that are internal problems aside from the physical one. So how can we let people get educated, let government, or humanitarian people, well wisher people who want to see a better Liberia, let them get themselves involved into or investment into education. I think I wrote a communication directly to Dr. Vicky, who's a humanitarian who's doing well, and I wrote a communication to her that to reduce poverty is not by sharing money. To reduce poverty is not to share rights on people. In fact, you are even making the society more lazy because every month I thought, Vicky, you can give me one bag of rent, I live and I feel complacent. I already get somebody to give me rent, so no need for me to put effort to make it in life. Yes. So we have to invest in education, build schools. All of the money you are going to buy rent, these are build school because those are generational investments that you are making. It's not just for you, the individual, but the society will also benefit. So the last aspect of my discussion point on the issue of drugs abuse has to do with the reporting of drug traffickers. There are people in our communities who they will know that for some of were living in Nikutan. I grew up in Nikutan, Busha, Ahadi. And as I said from my initial discourse, I said that I'm a victim of drugs as well. Although mine it was not in the perspective of going on the street being Zogo or something, but one way or the other we have till ain't no abuse drugs in that order. It's just that some of us we know ourselves. So people living in a community they will know that this person is selling push, this person is into this activity, into this illicit drug activities. They will sit in the community and keep mute to say that it is not my business, so no need, I'm working good at government job, the government should do that job. You are harming society more than even the people who are just taking the jobs. Because there was a saying from Mark Twain, one of the greatest philosophers ever, that the world is not destroyed by those who do us evil, but the world is destroyed by those who sit and do nothing. So if you are seeing the oppression going on, you sit and keep mute. The man who keep mute in terms of oppression is himself an oppressor. So we have to give information to the requisite agency about people who are trafficking drugs in our country. So thank you so much again for this topic. I will leave it right here for the comrade or the panelists, the other panelists to give that perspective on the particular topic. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much. That was the voice of Josiah Vanisan, our correspondent that joining us from Delhi NCR, Greater Noida to be precise. You made a statement towards the legislation being passed. My point is that there is no quote unquote proper, yeah, there is no the public to provide the public enlightenment, because if there is a proper legislation, then you will give the people the public enlightenment on the whole entire drug saga from one end to another. You see, you get a clear example on China. And I come back to you. The reason why China set up the non-bailable offense when it comes to the whole entire drug saga is there is a high legislation there. And the legislation that are put in place in China, they are all proper. They are proper and the laws are on the book. They are acting upon it. From Liberia angle is different, my brother. You are aware. What is on a book and what people advise two different things. All right. So the legislation are there, but is it proper? No. You and I know it's not proper. And because you don't have the proper legislation, you will not have the boss, or you will not get on your feet to do the public enlightenment when it comes to the whole drugs business. You mentioned when was on a coffee with Jojo. When people just starting something, all right, you should watch their trend. That one of the things that we Liberians we lose focus on. That's the reason why you see when it comes to credibility and accountability, I don't hold certain people accountable when it comes to certain things. Because when you follow their trend, it's just all about cloud chasing, it's just all about doing things for the public eye for few length of time. And as soon as they gain the public relevance they want, they indulge themselves into another era or another aspect, which of course should not be that way. When you get in the social media space, what they will always tell you is that those are also who are in the tech field will say identify a niche. I think you know what niche is, right? When someone say identify a niche.
Sure, sure, sure.
Okay, good. So the young lady in question, did she identify her niche? Yes, she did. Did she verify the niche? No, she did not. Identifying your niche and verifying your niche are two different things. When you get your niche, you identify it is one thing. To verify that niche is another thing. Verification process towards your niche is a whole different thing, and it takes time. It takes a whole lot of time, and it is a whole different process by itself. You understand? So the average Liberians, we are wired to not still on doing one thing over and over. No, that's why you see our average Liberian will submit assignment 1 hour before the actual deadline. Or you see our average Liberian will want to delay time. Or average Liberian will rush to start thing and can't complete it. Always an average Liberian will always want to talk at other people things, and at the end of the day cannot produce what the person is producing. Average Liberian will not support their fellow Liberian. An average Liberian will want to be very tribalistic, now want to put the whole tribal sentiment one side and look at Liberia, which is the bigger picture for all of us. You come outside, they're not looking at you for be from Lofa to be from Bombay, Maryland or Monserrato. They are looking at you to be from Liberia. You understand? So these are different things that we should look into, and which of course, if we look into this thing and categorize it very well, we will not make these slack mistakes. The legislation are there for the listening audience. I repeat again, but are they proper? No. Is there any public enlightenment when it comes to the drugs business? No. Since the recent drugs are entered the country, no hay, no tay. Is there any public enlightenment going on for that drugs that enter the country for the people to not go after and chase it and give it to the children? No. So these are the things that we are highlighting, Sano. The laws are there. People can make legislation. We can make legislation on the platform today and say, okay, or we now come to one resolution to say that not promote stores. So we get those might happen every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. You understand? We'll say, okay, yeah. But right now, what's the time right now? Right now, it's 7:30 p.m. The show still ongoing. You understand? Did we make the legislation? Yes. Did they pass? Yes. Is it proper? No. Because the length of time that Sano going to take to allude to a point is different from the length of time that Rennie going to take to allude to a point, different from the time that Ben going to take to allude to a point. So we are all coming from different perspectives. And the end result, it becomes a problem for us. So these are things that we got to look into. Again, for the listening audience and those that will follow the show later on, identifying your niche is different from verifying your niche. If you identify your niche, that's the first step. What you're good at, what you want to do, what you want to venture into, good. To verify that niche, the corridor you are getting into, when I do this, what's the benefit? What's the why? Where is my why? Why I want to wake up? Why I want to do this? Why I want to push for this? Why I want to get the balls to go and fight for this? You understand? And the niche does not only comes down to those who are on social media, it goes to colleges in Liberia. Just so you are aware. Cognitive Polo graduates the last time. If you get in there and see those that went to the science college there, you will see them that say they're doing nursing, they're doing the other one. We're not lashing at them, but that's the sad reality of we the Liberians. We always get ourselves involved into things that we are not good with. At the end result, it comes out to bite us. Why would somebody travel thousands of miles away from Liberia into India and the person tells you they want to become a medical practitioner and the person is zero? You're not seeing no medical identity when it comes to the person's life. Top to bottom, you are scanning the person from head to toe. But I'll stop here and allow Ben to come in. Ben, over to you.
Okay, thank you. So you guys have uh, described a very important points. Like Sandra was saying, relating to the drugs law in Liberia. Liberia have a very fine drug law, right? There's a very fine and beautiful law that is on the paper. The law tells you that if you are caught with drugs, you have to be apprehended, given due process, go to court. If you are found guilty, and you report behind bar. The law says if they catch the drug with you within your house, if the DEA comes with their search warrant and they see the drug in your house, and all evidence and file been established that these drugs were found in your house, the drug law says your house will be confiscated. They will sell your house, and government will use your house money for for the government. The laws are there. But like Sandra was saying, one of the reasons that we are not seeing the implementation of this law is in Liberia that people have romanticized the whole justice, right? People are just playing with it, my interest, my this and that, because those very individuals that makes the law, that are on a field and searching for the drugs, are those very individuals that are involved in the trafficking of drugs. In Liberia, Liberia, we don't have a very strong surveillance system when it comes to putting all of those surveillance measures into place at our various entry points in Liberia. Liberia have too many illegal entries. Some of these entries are just footpaths, they just walk across the camp. There are too many areas on the border that people can enter illegally with substance. Our immigration system are not well, you know, to that capacity, they are not really capacitated that they will be able to fight the import of drugs in our country. No. So like I was saying, right, in 2023, the World Organization of Statistics, they say 316 million people were abusing drugs. Just imagine that number, 316 million people around the world abusing drugs, excluding alcohol and tobacco, just drugs alone. And the trial American say in every 12 persons, only one person there, receive treatment when it comes to drug abuse. So in our society, Liberia, most of these places that we see is a rehabilitation center is just fiasco, honestly, because they just take the people, they will show you that the male be to the rehab, and you don't know how the drugs was entered like rehab, no, still be abusing drugs. So is that what we call rehab? No. It will shock you that Liberia do not, right? Liberia, the whole country Liberia we're talking about, right? There is no well-established rehabilitation center that is owned by the government of Liberia. The government of Liberia just partnering with private entities. The only mental health clinic we have in the Republic of Liberia, ESREN. ESREN is not owned by the government of Liberia. It's a partnership business. An individual running the place, and he don't have money to continue, he partner with the government. So that tells you that when it comes to eliminating or eradicating this whole stuff, when it comes to rehabilitating people, we are not showing that place. So what the government of Liberia can do is that number one, the government of Liberia has to invest heavily when it comes to rehabilitation center. So those that are already involved in the abuses of drugs, they can be able to go to the rehab and redefine their life, where they will go, they will learn skills, not just because they learn living there. They will learn skills, they will learn trade, that when they come out from there, there will be potential people within the society. Until these things be done, we are not going nowhere. The government of Liberia, one comment Josiah said, the government of Liberia needs to enforce right? The drugs law. Other countries are doing it, like the likes of China, right? The likes of Italy, right? The rule of law is very much respected. Even the India we're talking about there, right? So until we enforce these things, right, the drug law should be enforced, where all of those individuals who are importing the drug, when they are apprehended, they should be dealt with according to the law. Until we set precedent, 1, 2, 3 percent, until we set precedent, a very hard precedent that will be, put into place, or for those traffickings, right? Liberia are not going nowhere. So like I was saying, look at our user population now. 60% of Liberian population are youth. Out of that 60%, do you know how many people are using drugs? No. Liberia is very much vulnerable. Like I said, there are too many illegal entry points now in Liberia that people can just walk and enter with anything. Our immigration people are not sophisticated when it comes to technology. Like Commisano said, no. How many of our DEA, right? Our DEA personnel have a very good knowledge when it comes to technology. None of them have it. So these things, we need to work on it, right? We need to work on these things so that we will be able to what? To attack the source, the root cause. Even if somebody's sick, they come to the hospital, the first thing the nurse will be looking at, right? They'll be asking during a screening process. They'll be asking because sometimes all of these sickness will just not get it from right in our home. So we want to know the source, right? The root cause. So until we deal with the source, that is those that importing the drugs, until we start dealing with them on a very hard note, you know, our kids, our brothers, our sisters will keep abusing drugs once we are not attacking the source, which is the importer of the drugs into Liberia. We should also be able to empower those frontliners, health workers that are working to these zero rehabs, to be able to empower them. The government of Liberia should be able to build a very decent rehab where there will be school, vocational school, there will be, all things that people will go when you go there, when the young man is coming from there, you should come outside with skill. And when he comes outside with skill, he should be able to find something or job to do that will keep him busy, and will be able to earn one or two for himself, that his mind will not go back and go for him to go and go to the street. Like you were saying, right? We have our sister that started dating very well, but how far? We can see it again. We can see it again. Most of these people that they took from the street, they all, manner, they are back there. The 95% of them are back there. The senator of most other country, he have a small rehab center of right here. 3 months. 3 months is not 3 months is very much limited, very much small when it comes to rehabilitation of people who do drugs. Some of them go there 3 months, 6 months, they put it out. You put it out. What are they going to do? You put a young man up, no skill, no job, nothing for him to do. He will still go back in the street. So, what the government of Liberia needs to do is that to invest heavily when it comes to rehabilitation. There should be a well-established government or center where there will be a renowned rehab with schools, with different technical areas that you will go and learn skills. And when you come out, you should be able to do one or two for yourself. We should be able to or enforce our surveillance system to our entry points. Though we have too many illegal entry points, but we have to increase our surveillance system. Our the DEA men have to be capacitated so that they can be able to fight this. Until the drugs law in Liberia be enforced, we start romanticizing the whole stuff, or get this and that, we start playing, Jack and Romeo with the whole drugs. Look at the recent drugs thing running. We are seeing on the internet. Up to now, there is no well-established lead to tell you that this is how the drug enter into Liberia. So the drug just can't just enter. No, there should be somebody that imported the drugs into Liberia. So the whole stuff we are talking about, until we start looking at it as, as this and the big man beyond this, that we should treat everybody equal. When you are a big man, you break the law of the job, we should treat you the same way we can treat the common man. Until we start doing that, we'll see how far we will go. Other countries did it, like I said, the likes of Portugal, the likes of Ireland, the likes of Canada, the likes of Mexico. They are measures they put into place. Like I said, Ireland, what it did, they introduced the whole trust into their primary and secondary education. They started educating the children from primary education, secondary, or the tertiary level, start teaching them it. How many schools in Liberia that can have symposium when it comes, educate the students on the drug abuse, teenage pregnancy, STDs, gender-based violence? How many schools in Liberia does that? You don't see. All these things need to be taught in high school so that when the kids grow up, they already have knowledge on it. They say, okay, yes, so abuse drug is against the law, and you abuse drug, you are breaking the law. You're not getting into drug addiction and all stuff like that. Until we start doing it, we are not going nowhere. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. That was the voice of Benjamin Pay. Our team member, they're joining us from Liberia, Painesville to be precise. You get a very good allusion towards the topic on our discussion. Again, if you're just joining this Premier Television Network, and this is the weekly dose serving you. The dose of the week is on drug abuse. And I'm joined by Josiah Vanisano from Delhi, NCR, Greater Noida to be precise, Benjamin Pay from Liberia, Painesville to be precise, and I am from Punjab State, Chandigarh City to be precise. So let's just get our rounds, our closing round, and then we'll call it an evening. So let's start with Ben first. Ben, let's start with you, then we'll come back to Sando.
Okay, thank you for giving me the time. I would like to apologize to our audience for the break in because this is Liberia and I'm currently in Mamba in the room recording, so I have to, internet was like cracking. But however, uh, this is a very good discussion that we are having. All of us push our points. So we just like to appeal to our audience to share the show, invite others to join. Sometimes, you don't want to be new of knowledge. Follow the page. We are here every Tuesday discussing issue of concern. So, like all of my colleagues said, we have to, enforce the rule of law when it comes to drug abuse. We have to hold people accountable for what they do. We have to do awareness and educate our useful population when it comes to this whole drug addiction stuff. Like I said from the previous when I was talking, I said 316 million people in the world abuse drugs. And out of that, they tell that only one out of 12, only one person there with the statistics, out of 12 person, only one person among that 12 receives treatment when it comes to drug abuse. So that tells you that there are a lot more needs to be done. Drug abuse is a popular concern. So we need to attack it to see how best we can minimize the abuses of drugs into our country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, that was the voice of Benjamin Pay, our team member that joining us from Liberia. And let's hear from you, Josiah Vanisano.
Okay, thank you so much once again. Thanks for the show. Thanks for this fascinating topic of honor discussion. I think the comrade or we all on this show actually bring sense to the discourse. For my closing statement, let me first thank the audience for taking a precious time to be with us here. Uh, Comrade Benjamin have already like all the bases and have said everything. And I think two prevailing issues that graph on his point have to do with the issue of political will and also the lack of, say, weak enforcement. Because to admit that Buraga one of the strongest drugs law in the entire West Africa, but the issue of the weak enforcement and political will is causing serious challenge for the implementation of this policy and also a solution that can something everything. And again, the issue of job is not just rehabilitation, is not just taking medication to leave the substance. The key thing about rehabilitation, before you reintroduce or just user into society, at least they should have one or two soft skills that they can use as alternative livelihood that can also help to take their mind away from their previous or from their past activity or life exhibition, that they will focus on productive things as well, and also creation of opportunities. The government need to do more to invest into rehabilitation. It's not just only about for the issue of rehabilitation, it's not just limited to even drug use or even those people who are pre-trial detainees, people who are into the prison. They are those people you can bring on alternative livelihood. Sometimes you link with this or institutions that we have in abroad, like NVTI, we have for Life Zoe, and we have other technical information institutions in Liberia like the correctional centers and rehabilitation can link with, and can have that memorandum of understanding to be able to provide quality education or technical information knowledge to these people who we term as disadvantaged people, or people who are let me say convict that re into disney into society. They are coming as different people. They are not get but flushing it from in there. And another thing we need to stress on here again, it have to do the last one or last aspect have to do with being consistent with things that you do. Yeah, he spoke about other activists around the country who are doing things, but we are not consistent with our things that we are doing in the country. And persistence is a mother of success. You can get do things 1 month, 2 months. After that 2, 3 months, you can hear from you again. That's where now my only problem comes from with the humanitarians we have in our country, that they have two type of humanitarians. We have the
No, but
criminal humanitarian. Yeah,
Sano,
so
just to inject before you finish. That's the
yeah, yeah,
mindset of the whole entire Liberia population. It's not just one person. It's embedded in the gene of every Liberian. You think about it. We go
yeah,
at
yeah.
starting it, but getting in the middle and finishing, that what the problem is. So you can continue.
So now our focus should be how can we bridge this gap. Some of us now, I will have to bring back like this Gun Sunday's topic into this thing again. We that left like people that travel across the ocean to come and get quality education. Are we going back again to behave like the people we left behind? Or are we going to create that awareness to be able to impact them, or and or serve as motivation or inspiration to our peers that we left back home through tangible impact and deliverables? Let's get engaged, let's participate into activity. Let's get engaged with some of these civil society organizations who provide our expertise to these people. How can they mitigate the issue of drugs? Even though law enforcement agency, like now I'm doing a draft of communication to the Liberian Nation or the Liberian Drug Enforcement Agency. Everybody need to be able to provide awareness, to create awareness to the populace. It is the responsibility. If you look at the act that created the LDA, one of the responsibility given to them was to be able to create awareness to the public about the impact of drugs, their own role that they are playing in society, their functions, their duties. Most people are not educated about these things. So thank you so much for the show. We look forward to more of this discussion in the coming days. Thanks to the listening audience. Please, the issue of drugs is everybody's business. It's not just the government agency alone. We all are part of this process. We can all be frontliners in our respective ways. Any way that you can contribute to the mitigation of drugs in our country, you have to do it now. We can't say tomorrow because tomorrow is never promised. And the younger generation is coming after us. These questions will be asked. What did he do? These things were happening. What did he do? All of the expertise you have, all of the power that you have. What did he do to post up to this? These questions will be asked. Today we are asking our parents, our forefathers about those things that they did in the past that got us to where we are today. So what are we doing as individuals to be able to change the narrative and then be persistent and consistent and intentional? So thank you for the show. I look forward to more of this. Thank
Okay, thank you so much. That was the voice of Josiah Vanisano, our team member just joining us from Delhi NCR, Greater Noida to be precise. And we're also joined by Alaska P, or you say Benjamin Mondoro P, from Liberia. We gave you the dose of the week on drug abuse, and we'll be back again next Tuesday with another dose of the week. Who knows what the topic might be? But again, we are discussing the trending issues. Look
you.
forward
Rennie,
for
are you there?
more. Yes, yes. Look forward for more of Primrose Television this week. This Sunday, we should have Primrose Talk. Stay updated to our page. Information will be provided, and we'll make sure that we give you all the best of our best. Primrose
Hello,
Television,
Rennie.
the online hub to meaningful content. Can you hear me, Sando? I'm audible. Can you hear me?
Okay, gentlemen, I beg to leave now.
Okay,
I'm
sure,
going.
sure, Ben.
Sure.
All right, Ben.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining. Yeah, thank you so much for joining.